Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Self Development with Tactics podcast. And today, as you can see in the background, we will actually go ahead with one summary I just forgot about and some sort of didn't really want to continue because there are so many interesting books on this great website. So I'm again on the SamuelThomasDavis.com website, and let's see that I even. The thing is, I can't put him away, but I could do it like, maybe not. Yeah, let's let it be like this. But before I forget to mention, I'm your host Christopher, and I'm a 17-year-old graphic design student from Austria, and I'm really pumped to go through this with you. And you might not know which book this is, and therefore I'm going to explain what book it is. So I just have to see if the audio isn't too loud, because today I seem to tend to be pretty loud, which shouldn't be the case. But the thing is, if I talk normally and not like that loud, um, it is fine. But if I just talk too loud, everything gets cranked up and then everything sounds like a piece of shit. And I don't really want that for you, and also not for me, because then the recording isn't that good. But um, I have to go through this for today, and therefore I have to stop just talking all the time. So this is the book called, it's by Cranefield, and I'm a little bit feared to, it's part 6. So it's the success principles and how to get from where you are to where you want to be by Jack Canfield. And I still believe that he is such a kind of, TV guy or something, and he's, just famous for being on TV, but I'm actually not sure, and therefore I won't just tell it like it is. But we will go ahead with part 6, and part 6 is the success in the digital age. So the 63rd point is master the technology you need. Now I think that's a pretty good advice, because actually to be able to win on social media or in the digital age or on all these digital platforms, you actually have to know what are the native, how should I say, the native contents or the native products on this particular platform. So, posting, and this is something that especially I do not get it wrong, but I just do not do it. I just, I make one post and I post it on all 3 platforms. So on Instagram, Twitter, and on um, Facebook. So I normally use just a post and then I post it everywhere. But you shouldn't actually be doing this, because every platform has its own type of content, or its own type of content that should be created there. And on Instagram it's more like this arty stuff and like pretty creative. On Facebook I don't really know, because I'm not that into Facebook. And on Twitter it's something like more business like, I would say, and more not that not that typical arty thing of Instagram, but it's some kind of a little bit more formal and such thing like this. So you have to really be conscious about what platform you are, what works on this platform, and to see what works on these platforms, just look up all these creators that are actually doing good by now, and just look at their content and see what they are doing, and often it could work for you as well. In my some sort of niche, people really tend to be like only posting this type of stuff that's on some kind of black background and then just some text on it, and it's not that personal. But I really take it personal, and therefore I do it some kind of, maybe Gary Vee. This would be a pretty good example, or Dan Lok if you know him. And just search up all these creators and see what is working for them, and maybe you can build up up to this. But yeah, the 64th one is brand yourself with an online persona. This is, I think, actually what I'm doing. I'm doing, me as a brand, some sort of, and I want to make myself a brand. If that doesn't sound too crazy somehow, and this is actually the same thing as Gary Vee is already doing or has already done, because he is by now an established brand. You can see it because he has his own shoes with his sign on it and his brand on it, and other products, his wines, but that's not something of him personally. It's just his company. But there you can really see if just people have their own product, their own line, their own clothing, whatever it is, that they are actually somehow a brand. If it's just branded like, their name. And this is something that's, at my point of view, pretty good. Because if you are just, a brand yourself, it is much easier for you to actually create or build up a company, because you are an established, quotation marks for the podcast listeners, you are an established person and or an established brand, and therefore it's much easier to create a company or build up a company, because you actually have the leverage and have the audience and have the people around you, and you can just bring it to the people you're already having. And it's always good for a brand to be somehow famous from the first day on or something, at my point of view. So the 65th fifth point is use social media in a way that enhances your reputation, which makes total sense. And why would you just use social media to just cut your sales, or I don't know what you could do with social media in terms of negative stuff? But it is actually, I think, common sense. But yeah. The 66th point is use the exponential power of crowdfunding. In my point of view, yeah, you can use crowdfunding, but the thing is, if you aren't able to generate the money yourself, your business is worthless, because you can't really survive without your funders or without your money givers. And this is something maybe a lot of startup, as Gary Vee is actually saying again, a lot of startups seem to get this wrong, because they just are used to get all the money from the people, and then after they got the money, or just the crowdfunding event is over or something, they are like, yeah, we have the money, we kind of built it, maybe we haven't calculated it right, and so we actually need some more money. But the thing is, there are no people anymore, and but you need the money. It's always like you need money, you need cash, because cash is the drive of your company or the drive of your business. And therefore you should really be looking at your business from the first day on, that it will actually generate money itself, so that you're not you not have to have some people around you investing in you. The 67th point is connect with people who can expand your vision. So I would say, or as I was going through it before, I was thinking like, in terms of social media, it is just like collaborating. And often it is like, you hit people up via DM or even on a post or something, and then you'd be like, and I've done it, and I've actually talked about it before. I've done it. I DM'd some people, just asked them if I could do some content creation for them, just make posts, because as you know, I'm a graphic designer, so this is something I know that people will need. They will need the posts to be produced, and if I can take off some time off them, then it's a win-win situation. So I should have gotten a shout out. I haven't gotten one yet. Maybe it will come, maybe not. And the thing is, I'm not that mad at it. for maybe not, or mad at them for not actually giving me what I actually deserve for the work I did, because I'm like, maybe it should be like it. Maybe I shouldn't get these shoutouts. Maybe this would make everything too fast. I don't know. I will see what comes. But to grow faster, it's actually a good way, because if you're good at what you're doing, and so if you're good at your thing, you just give them for something getting back. Just, how do you say? There's so an easy expression for this, but I've forgotten it. So you give them your particular thing, and so you get something back. And most of the time, it would then be exposure for you if you want to grow your business or your personal account or whatever. And for them, it might be like, something they actually need. Content creation is something I can really suggest you, because I know that people, and that people just really need it, because it's what they do on a daily basis. But yeah, so I think by connecting with people can expand your vision. They some sort of, or I guess mean, collaboration. But let's go to the actual summary of the success principles. If you want to be successful, you have to take 100% responsibility for everything that you experience in your life. And I've talked about this actual paragraph before, and so we'll take it now, some kind of short. So at my point of view, if you take yourself into the position of being 100% responsibility for everything in your life, through doing this, you can, or you just really create a framework for yourself that lets you just really change everything, because and you just really force yourself to take action, because you know that you are the person, and the only person to 100% who is responsible for all these things. And so you kind of force yourself to change things, or to change things that bother you. This is actually my thoughts behind this one. Yeah, just I'm doing everything a little bit more complicated. Everything you think, say, and do needs to become intentional and aligned with your purpose, your values, and your goals. And this is actually also something I talk a lot about. At my point of view, if you know your purpose, if you know your goals, if you know your values, you really, and as they actually say, which is great, if it is then some kind of subconsciously with time, you really create a framework or a path for yourself. So if you just really make decisions based on your values and on your goals, you will really make yourself, or for yourself, the framework or path to your goal, some sort of directly straight to your goal. Because by just by just making decisions on based on your values and goals, there is no way you will decide something that's pretty shitting over all your goals and values, because you just make decisions based on them. And so the line has to be much straighter than if you just make some decisions, some sort of decisions just randomly or something. Everything you experience today is the result of choices you have made in the past, which is totally true. And you have to be conscious about, so that if you take it another way around this, that all these choices you make today are actually some kind of, correlated to tomorrow, or some kind of will change tomorrow. Because, if you build your habits today, and I'm a big friend of doing something straight away. Often it is, yes, some kind of intelligent to gradually do it, but at my point of view, it's just radical making it now. For now on, just do not eating sweets maybe is actually a great thing, or just worked for me. And this then now has something to do with self-awareness. If you know that this won't work for you, so if you know that you need this gradual exposure to new things, then don't do it radical. Just do it or in your way. But being radical and doing it straight now, from now on, and so on, helped me, and I think that's just my way. You have control over only three things in your life: the thoughts you think, the images you visualize, and the actions you take. And all these things, some sort of make your behaviors, your patterns, your systems, or everything that is the foundation for your entire life and for your character and for you, some sort of. The day you change your responses is the day you live, your life will begin to get better. Um, this book is actually great, and I have to admit that before this episode, I was a little bit like feared or a little bit mad that I have to go through this, because I was like, I don't know if it's actually the right thing to do or if it's just easy. Then I decided, it isn't easy actually, because you know I actually I do not really wanted to, because I thought, like, as I was going through it before, like, yeah, these are all things I've been talking about, and maybe no one needs them, or I do not need them. But um, actually, just as an answer to myself, there will always be someone who needs it, and just produce this content, just hit it out, and it will find the audience itself, some sort of, because if somebody needs my content, and I hope so, some sort of. Actually, I do not hope, because if they really need it, there's something going on in their life, and there's something they are not really happy about, and I do not want that. So, to be honest, now to myself, the best thing for me to happen is to produce this content just for myself, and to only make it for myself, because yeah, as I said, if people really need it, there's something going on with them which might not be the happiest thing. So they might not be that happy. But um, I've actually forgotten what I intentionally wanted to say, initially wanted to say. What did I want to say? Yeah, the thing is, if things happen. Just, good things happen, bad things happen, and just some sort of neutral things happen. That's, totally okay. But the thing is, it really comes up to you how you respond to them, or how you are responding to them. So the thing is, if I don't know, if you lose money, you can either be like neutral, you can be like angry, and you can be like happy, which wouldn't then make any sense for me. So let's just take the angry one and the neutral one. And so then it's kind of up to you. What do you want to be? Do you want to be angry right now because you lost your money? Or do you actually, are neutral and just give a fuck about it? So it's just always in terms of how you respond to things that happen in your life. Complaining is an ineffective response to an event that does not produce a better outcome, which is, it makes total sense. But the thing is, I do it anyways, just today. And I actually thought about this, not this exact paragraph, but, just the meaning. I was in train, and snow is going wild at my place. There's just near me there are 6 meters of snow, and all trains are just not just really delayed and aren't that working well, and everything is just really fucked up, and I don't know. But the funny thing is, if I can add it now, it is really, really funny to see that, people always think like they are the biggest, and we can do it all as a human race, and so on. And then, it snows a little bit, and everything is fucked up, and nothing works, and the whole system is, yeah, just completely fucked. And this is so funny to me. This is actually, like, just to see that nature is just a little bit bigger than we are, even though we think that we are the biggest ones and we can do everything. We can do a lot, yeah, and we can some sort of manipulate nature as well. But yeah, actually, to come to the point, complaining doesn't make anything better. So I was in the train, and it was so delayed because of the snow and so on, that I was complaining about it. And then I thought, like, actually, it doesn't make anything better for me. But I will still do it. You know, to be honest, I do not see a negative outcome as well. It's just like maybe it's wasting my energy. I don't know. This is a possible thing actually. Learn to replace complaining with making requests and taking action that will achieve your desired outcomes. Yeah, so this would be a little bit better thing to use your energy for, just to request and take action. And especially I like take action, because taking action is a thing that a lot of people just lack nowadays, I would say. And but yeah. If you find yourself in a situation you don't like, either work to make it better or leave. And I'm sorry, but I have to see if I can just crank it down a little bit more so that I will not go too much into, the wrong thing. And yeah, just have to see with the audio that it's not too loud, because then if this gain, it is called, if the gain is too much, there will first of all be a lot of background noise and a lot of just noisy shit in the background, which is, especially with this microphone, a thing that really can fuck your entire recording. And with half an hour recording, this isn't really the thing you want to have. And but second of all, it then sounds not that good, because everything is just phasing, I guess it's called, and it's not sounding right. It's not sounding good, and it's not satisfying. So if you find yourself in a situation you don't like, either work or leave. And then you just have to decide for yourself. Is it better to just not give up and put money into it, and I don't know, energy and everything you have, time, and or you leave. These are the two things you can decide, and you can always decide. The thing for me is I tend not to never leave. I quite never leave, because I think, like, I'm really into this mindset of doing everything just from the start to the end. But it's actually something that's quite important for you to know when you have to stop, and where you have to stop actually, because you just with then, if you do not stop at the right time, or some sort of the right time, you will just use a lot of energy and a lot of time as well. And if you just do not have that much time, it can be a really bad result. The only thing that will change your result is to change your behavior, which is totally true. And a lot of people, and this is actually something, this is a book that I could have written actually, because these are all the things I'm talking about. If you're doing just the same thing over and over again, why would you just, expect something else to happen if you just do the same things over and over again? And I see it with people that like to lose weight, that want to make more money, that want to be successful. All these things, all these nice things people want, but they won't work for it, or they just are willing to do the same as they are always doing, even though they probably know that it isn't working. So especially up to that point where they maybe ask themselves, if it's actually the right thing to do. But you can change it. One of the easiest ways to begin clarifying what you truly want is to make a list of 30 things you want to do, 30 things you want to have, and 30 things you want to be before you die. This is a great way to get the ball rolling. And this is actually a great idea, because then you can see really what's important to you. And then I would actually just, maybe underline or use colors to see, or to mark things that you are passionate about and you actually, or you think you will be enjoying by doing them. And so, you make yourself a great list to go through and to see what fits for your entire life. Because the thing is, at my point of view, getting straight a job, a fixed job, a safe job, right after graduating from school or from uni or whatever, wherever or wherever you live or whatever you're doing, doesn't matter. It doesn't make any sense to me. And often I just say what Gary Vee is saying, and I would definitely check him out for sure, because he makes actually really great content at my point of view. It's just not only informational, but it's also produced pretty well, and this makes the whole experience a little bit better. But the thing is, I just tend to lose the points all the time. What's the thing? The thing is, you really have to try out a lot of things to actually know what you're passionate about. So, how would you know, or how could you know what you actually like or love or want to do for the rest of your life if you do not try a lot of things? If you just, do your normal shit, or I don't know what you're doing, but I would definitely check a lot of things out, try things, and you can always quit and or always say, this isn't actually something I want to do for the rest of my life, or want to do for, 1/3 of my life, which is work at my point of view, or as wide as I know, or as long as I know. Nevertheless, or anyways, sorry. To create a balanced and successful life, your vision needs to include the following 7 areas: work and career, finances, recreation and free time, health and fitness, relationship, personal goals, and contribution to larger community. I think work, career, finances, and free time could actually be put into one bucket, because if you just are really liking a job, if you're really working a job you pretty much like and you're so passionate about, you can first of all make your finances right, your career is right, your work is right, because if you're passionate about something, you will be working enough to have decent money. So after some kind of time, maybe not all these things can be monetized so easily or so well in the first place, or at first in the beginning. But recreation and free time, um, I would say that you do not actually need that much free time if you are working on something that you're passionate about. It's more like you can't really stop yourself from doing it. Health and fitness is pretty important. I would definitely see that you are getting these things right, because if you do not have the proper health, and it is so funny that people tend to always get it wrong. If you do not have the proper health or fitness, you can't work. You know the thing is, and I've talked one today to a schoolmate of mine who is smoking, and I was like, you could actually be doing like smoking less but living longer to smoke more, which is actually true and which would actually work, because if you smoke less, you live longer, and if you live longer, you can smoke more in you know in uh, in terms of time. If it's I actually might know that smoking one cigarette is as bad as smoking many today, which then would just create or will fuck up all my thesis, which was, by the way, not really that. It was some kind of joke, because you know I would advise you never to smoke, or don't smoke or quit smoking if you are smoking. But relationships are so important. Personal goals might then be your career if you're so passionate about it, what I hope for you. A contribution to a larger community would then some sort of be also through your business, because then you can, benefit all the people that are working for you, or you're actually working for them, or just, donate a lot to charity and so on, which would then also be possible. But if you limit your choices only to what seems possible or reasonable, you should disconnect yourself from what you truly want, and all that is left is a compromise. Um, as I get it right, it means that you should not just only do things that seem to be. It should be underlined and in bold, and everything that should, that makes it pop out a little. Um, you shouldn't really only be doing what seems possible or seems reasonable to you, because As I said before, if you haven't just tried it, how would you know if it's first of all working? If you haven't tried it, if it's reasonable, so in terms of like if you maybe like it, or even if it's not like a waste of time only, and so on. So just try it, and after the first time you did it, or the second time, you just have to see that you can create a picture from it, from your experiences, that you know just then you do it, or you don't do it. Stated in its most basic form, the law of attraction says what you think about, talk about, believe strongly about, and feel intensively or intensely about, you will bring about, which is actually true, my point of view. And this is actually something that Tony Robbins also said. I might have heard in a motivational speak of him, which is that whatever you're focusing on will grow. If it's then positive or negative is really up to you. You can lose material things, but you can never lose your mastery, what you learn, and who you become in the process of achieving your goals, which is actually true. This is a thing that I've talked about in the first episode of this article, which is that if you have a millionaire and if you just take all his wealth, he is still a millionaire because he knows how he got this money and how he will get this money again. And he maybe even has all these connections he needs, or he just has to, or actually needs to reproduce this wealth, and a lot of other things. One of the great things about living in today's world of abundance and opportunity is that almost everything you want to do has already been done by someone else. And the thing is by this is that you can just Google it, see how other people did it, and just make it the same if it's working for you that way, or just see and inspire yourself to get yourself informations, be inspired, as I said. What could be also great about it? Just problem solving if you're having a problem that somebody else had, if you need tips on something, and so on. So this is just a really great thing, this time, this era we are living in. One of the great strategies for success is to act as if you already are where you want to be, which is some sort of thing, and I've actually pointed it out in the last episode as well. This is something I don't really know if I should support it, because faking till you're making it, I don't know if it's just working like this. Gary Vee says it's not. I really don't want a person to be like just saying what he is saying. I won't do that, and I hope I won't do that, even though it just sometimes seems to be like it. But yeah, I have to be honest. But I don't think that just acting like you have success may not be the best idea. The world doesn't pay you for what you know, it pays you for what you do. And therefore act and do stuff, and do not only read about it in theory and so on. It's actually quite a lot, and we are 33. I'm doing a little bit because this episode today is actually pretty great, and I'm very, very grateful for it being so great. And I hope, and this is my very great hope, that the audio is good as well, because just then before and now I see that I read so loudly because I'm so passionate or so enthusiastic about what I'm reading today, I think. And this is also something I've said to myself, is that I have to be just some sort of more energetic when I'm doing these videos, because nobody actually wants to listen to somebody sitting there like, yeah, this is it, and we are doing this, and this is actually like, I have a little bit experience in this. Nobody's interested in some things like this. And but the most important thing is to not really force yourself, because then it isn't authentic anymore. But the thing is, I guess everybody can be some sort of how should I say, how should I say, some sort of energized about something, or just really, that, yeah, let's say energized. It's not right, but nevertheless. Um, uh, Many people fail to take action because they are afraid to fail. Successful people, on the other hand, realize that failure is an important part of the learning process. I hate failing. I've told it to you just a trillion times. I hate failing. I pretty much hate failing, but I actually know that this is just a way to learn. And I always remind me on this thing. If you want to remain calm and peaceful as you go through life, you have to have high intention and low attachment. Um, yeah, yeah. If you want to be more successful, you have to start hanging out with more successful people. This is actually some sort of right, and for me, I think it's good that they, or the author says that you have to start hanging out with more successful people, which means that you shouldn't really cut all negative people out. I would say over time it might be a good idea to just, cut out people that are not good for you, and you actually know that they aren't good for you. But actually, cutting every person out that might have said something negative once in their entire lifespan is just bullshit. And maybe you just also limit the time you're spending with the people that are not passionate about what you are passionate about. Um, it's always a hard thing with friendships and all these things. An important part of any focusing regime is to set aside time at the end of the day, just before going to sleep, to acknowledge your success. So your successes, review your goals, focus on your successful future, and make specific plans for what you want to accomplish the next day. Um, yeah, that's a good advice. To actually, think forward, see what might be going on tomorrow at the end of the day. This is important, and not during the day, because you should actually be living in the present and not in the future, even though the present is really some kind of change in the future for yourself. It depends on what you're doing today. If you're going to become more successful, you have to get out of denial and face what isn't working in your life. Denial. I think it's denial. Um, so I would say it's just like, being truthful to yourself, to really understand or to really see that some things aren't working, some other things are working. The first thing is some sort of both. And, really being truthful to yourself and being honest to yourself. Because, when you aren't honest to yourself, you won't improve, and, nothing goes on, and you will just do the things you always do, even though it's maybe not actually good for you. Successful people adhere to the no exceptions rule when it comes to their daily disciplines. No exceptions rule, which is, just doing it all the time. I hate cold showering. I've said it also a trillion times, but I really hate it. And today I just even talked to a classmate about it. I just told him, so just randomly, it's just, I don't know why actually. Um, I hate cold showering. But I know if I'm in a cold shower and after the cold shower, I feel pretty good about it. But during it, or especially before it, actually only before it, because I just shower warm at first place, and then afterwards I shower with cold water, and then this transition between these two things is just gross. It's it's pretty hard, but it's good for my body, it's good for my mind, good for my health, and so I'll just do it. Have to see. Yeah, sorry if I'm sitting a little bit bad. To learn and grow in life, you need to be teachable too. This is something I struggle with as well. I hate it when somebody, is teaching me, especially people who I kinda feel like they aren't very in the position to teach me, but it is some sort of, just, I think it's just because of me, and I could get a lot of more, and I often just force myself to even ask people how they did it, even though I just, pretty much like to notice or to explore that myself. It's especially with things or with people that are in my class or which are the same age as me. But just asking, I don't know, Gary Vee would be a pleasure for me, and I would definitely listen to him. Which doesn't mean that I'm not listening to the others, but you know what I mean. Of course, motivation is not permanent, but then neither is bathing, but it is something you should do on a regular basis, which is a quote from Jim Rohn. When you do something you love with passion and perseverance, you are already a success. And I think especially when you can live from it and when you can make a living out of what you love and what you're passionate about, I think this should be everyone's dream, some sort of. But unfortunately, I have to say that this episode ends with this. I'm very sorry because especially this summary isn't going a lot on. From now on, it's just a little bit added to it. But I'm already 41 minutes in, and the the data of this the file of this recording would then be just 5 GB. It's by now might be 2 GB, and time is also a thing. I need to upload all the posts for tomorrow, and this takes a lot of time. But enough talking, enough randomly talking. I'm very happy and I'm so amazed by this episode, especially you being or going through this with me. And I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, a wonderful midnight, whatever you have. And if there's anything you want to tell me, comment down in the description, or comment on every post I did, or DM me, and I will definitely write you back. And I'll see you the next time, and I love you.